So the National Football League is done and dusted. We know now for certain who has been promoted, who has been relegated. We know that Mayo have won their first National Football League title since 2019, their second since 2001. And in this video, we will be reacting to my GA predictions from a couple of weeks ago, where I predicted the entirety of the National Football League. And it's kind of mad to think that the National Football League is done and dusted. It's over. I mean, it only feels like a couple of weeks ago that we were predicting the games, we were discussing the games, and here we are. It's done. It is over. And what's even more crazy is the All-Ireland Championship starts on Saturday. I mean, absolute madness, really, that the championship is so close to the league finals. It certainly would have been a lot better, and it would have made my life a lot easier if these games were a bit more spread out. But nonetheless, we are here to react to my GA predictions. I've seen a couple of people in the comments recently obviously asking me to react to my own GA predictions, my own National Football League predictions that I done a couple of months back. And I do often see people who love to comment on those videos, especially after the season is over, to say what I got right and what I got wrong. So, you know, this is your moment right here. This is your moment to see me understand how much I got wrong. And I've calculated in total 18 predictions from Division 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we will see which predictions I got right and which predictions I got wrong. And certainly a lot wrong, to be honest with you. So, yeah, let's do this. So I'll tell you what we'll do first of all. We will remind ourselves of how the National Football League title, or how the National Football League actually went in the end, just to remind ourselves how things went, and then we'll look into my prediction. So Division 1, Mayo and Galway were the two sides that were promoted. Armagh and Donegal were the two sides that were relegated. And when we're looking at the GA predictions, as I said, 18 predictions we'll be looking at, and they are the sides that got promoted, the sides that got relegated, and who actually finished as the division champions, or the National Football League winners, as it would be in Division 1. Division 2, and this is how things finished. Derry and Dublin were both promoted. Clare and Limerick were relegated. And then if we go down to Division 3, we're looking on Wikipedia because it's, you know, far more easier than the GA website. Kind of crazy to say that. But Fermanagh and Cavan, the two sides promoted from Division 3. Longford and Tipperary relegated from Division 3. And Division 4, obviously, there's only promotion here, and it was Sligo and Wicklow who got promoted there. So anyway, let's have a look at my predictions. Yeah, probably a lot wrong here, but here we go. A week or so away now to the commencement of the 2023 National Football League. And look, great to have GAA back, great to have Inter-County GAA back. I think the club championship season is always... First of all, great to see the lovely Christmas tree in the background there. I definitely must have left that up a bit longer, because I think I did this predictions in, was it halfway through January? So look, you know, it's always good to leave a Christmas tree in there. It's good. It's a good background prop. It actually looks nicer there than it did in real life, to be honest with you. But yeah, not so bad Christmas tree, to be fair. So I think in Division 4, the promotion battle is really going to be between 4 teams, in my opinion. Now, in Division 4 down the years, it's a little bit chaotic. I mean, anyone can kind of beat anyone, and we've seen down the years the likes of London, Waterford, Wexford, all cause shocks without really ever being in a battle for promotion, if that makes sense. But I think the sides most likely to be in a promotion race this year are Sligo, Laois, Wicklow, and Leitrim. I think those 4... Do you know what? Give myself some credit. I was spot on there. I was spot on. They were the 4 sides who all had a chance at promotion going into the final weekend. So yeah, a bit of a props there. We'll see if I got the two out of the 4. We'll see which 2 I actually selected in the end. But I know Wexford kind of came close here and there. They were sort of knocking on the door for a while. But for me going into it, I could just see these 4 who looked a good bit ahead. I think Wexford is a weird one. I still think they have a lot of quality, and they might be up there battling for promotion next year. But these other 4 sides, in my opinion, a lot more consistent, and hence why I believe that they would be the sides who would be closest to promotion. In my opinion, I think the least likely of those four teams to get promoted, in my opinion, is Laois. I think for Laois, there's just been a big drop in the last couple of seasons. I mean, back-to-back relegations. Yeah, I think I was fairly right about Laois as well. And the funny thing was, Laois started the league really well. They actually beat Sligo in the opening weekend, and I remember everyone was kind of jumping on the Laois hype train. Even I think Sean Kavanagh said that realistically they're a Division 2 team. Which the Laois of old, yes, but Laois have been in the doldrums for a good couple of years now. Let's be perfectly honest. And I was always saying, like, let's not jump on the hype train too soon. And to be fair to Laois, they weren't a million miles away. I think they might finish third in the end. They just needed Wicklow to drop points at Waterford, and they would have got in there. But yeah, the Laois hype train was very, very high early on. But I do think all in all, they'll be up there next season, but I think I was right in saying that they weren't the ones to get promoted. Let's talk about Sligo then, because I do have Sligo in first. I think Sligo, for me, they have the makings of what could be a very, very big year for Sligo football. I mean, not only could they get promoted from Division 4, there is a possibility that they could also play in a Connacht final this year with the way that the draw was made for the Connacht Football Championship. Now, Leitrim, who I also think are with a great shout of promotion, are in a similar boat, but why I've got Sligo in first for me is semi-finals of the Tailteann Cup last year. They just about came through Leitrim, in fairness, and that was a very, very close game. I think it went to penalties in the end, but they were very competitive against Cavan in that semi-finals. You know what? In fairness, I think with Sligo, I think a lot of people could predict this. I think this was a prediction that when you looked in the comment section of my videos, and I'll actually have a look at some of your lads' comments as well, just to see what some of your lads' predictions were before the start of the league. But I think a lot of people did predict Sligo to get promoted. I think it was, I wouldn't say an obvious prediction, but you looked at it and you thought they have the most settled manager, they have a very good squad, underage success, really good feel factor around Sligo football. So you just got that general sense that they would get promoted. They did finish first. I did get that one right. But did I predict them to win the league title? And who did I predict with them? With Wicklow and Leitrim, studying a little of what am I saying? Like looking at Wicklow, Oisin McConville coming in as manager, there's bound to be a managerial bounce. There's bound to be a bit of an uplift. And actually, against Dublin in pre-season, I was actually quite impressed with them. I thought they held their own. Defensively, they were very well organised. It's going to be interesting to see how they play under Oisin McConville. Are they going to be a bit defensive, or are they going to be an attacking type team? It's going to be interesting to see sort of how they play under Oisin McConville. But do look at Leitrim, though, and under Andy Moore and second season at the helm, Leitrim have a very good squad. Keith Byrne was the top scorer in Division 4 last year, one of the top scorers in inter-county football last year in both league and championship. You've got Emla Mulligan, who's a very, very consistent performer for Leitrim in the last couple of seasons. And to be fair, you can understand the rationale between going with Leitrim, because Andy Moran's been there for 2 seasons now, knows the squad. They have a very good squad as well. I'd nearly go as far to say that they actually have a better squad than Wicklow. But Oisin McConville has got the best out of Wicklow and sort of integrated a lot of the younger players and really sort of, brought the best out of them. But yeah, like even as I was saying here, like it was so close between these two in this prediction. I remember there was one moment I had Wicklow, then I went with Leitrim. But I think I did go with Leitrim in the end. I don't think there's much between Leitrim, Sligo and Wicklow, to be honest with you, and even Laois. But I think I'm going to go with Leitrim just because of the fact that they've gotten out of this division before. They have more experienced players. They have a manager who now knows the team, knows the best players, knows how to get a tune out of them. Whereas for Oisin McConville, there might be a bit more time and there might be a few more bumps in the road. But as I said, like I honestly think Leitrim and Wicklow could finish on the same amount of points. It might just go down to score difference, and it might even go down to when they play each other. But I'm going to go with Sligo and Leitrim to get promoted. And I think I'll go with Sligo to win the division title as well. Yeah, so there we go. Predicted Sligo to win the title and obviously predicted them to get promoted as well. So that means 2 out of 3 predictions correct there. I wasn't a million miles away with the Wicklow Leitrim prediction. And I even said it could likely go down to when these two play each other. And it was actually Wicklow who beat Leitrim, let's not forget as well, earlier in the season. So I think that was decisive in the end in them getting promoted. I went for Sligo to win the title and I was right. So 2 out of 3 predictions correct. Let's move on to our Division 3 predictions then. And let's see how many I got right here. Let's move on to Division 3 then. And in relegation, the team I think is nailed on to be relegated is Antrim. Look, I've predicted Antrim to get relegated last season. I didn't predict them to get promoted in 2020. Yeah, well, we got that one wrong. We got that one. I feel like Antrim are like my Division 3 version of Monaghan, where I always predict Monaghan to get relegated. And I think in the last 2 seasons, I predicted Antrim to get relegated. And fair play to them. Fair play to Andy McEntee. You know, he got a tune out of Antrim. They won big games when they needed to. That win against Cavan was, you know, decisive. And that was the win that kept them up in the end. And they did have some good performances. They were unlucky not to be down. There was a few other games they probably should have come through. So fair play to Antrim. You know, I even said here, I predicted I was nailed on. I had them as nailed on to finish bottom of the league, and they stayed up in the end. So yeah, already we got one prediction wrong, but let's see what I said about Antrim anyway. One, I think it was. So, you know, I've probably not had high hopes for Antrim in the last couple of seasons, and they have surprised me. And I think last year, under Enda McGinley, the job that he done cannot be understated. And battle is going to be between 3 other counties in here. I think Tipperary, Fermanagh, and Longford all very much in with a shout of being relegated. Yeah, the Fermanagh one here. I don't think I did predict them to get relegated in the end. Thank God. I was very close to predicting them to get relegated, and that would have been an absolute disaster class. But I did feel that Fermanagh would be thereabouts in the relegation zone. And as we very well know, I was definitely wrong with that one. Okay, now, the team I think that's least likely of those 3 to be relegated is Longford. I think with Paddy Christie coming in, you know, I've been watching Paddy Christie's progress. I think Longford actually finished bottom of this division in the end. Let me have a look. That was a disaster class. They actually didn't. Tipperary finished bottom, but yeah, Longford were so disappointed. They were so disappointed. Like, we all had such high hopes for Longford, especially with Paddy Christie going in. Like, I feel like they do have some good players there. And yeah, you know, Longford fans, let me know, where did it go wrong? And can this be turned around? Can Paddy Christie, like, do you still have faith? Do you still have hope? I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe Antrim were better than what we expected, and Fermanagh went on to have a very good season. There were some great sides in Division 3, in fairness, this year. But yeah, things did not go to plan for Longford this year. As a manager in the last couple of seasons, and I think there's a lot of excitement around Paddy Christie, and even in my own county, I would be interested. I'll be keeping a close eye on Longford, because if things work out very well, you wouldn't rule out Paddy Christie potentially managing Dublin at some point further down the line. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on there. Between Tipperary and Fermanagh, like, it is such a hard one to call. Fermanagh are playing Tipperary at home in Brewster Park, I think in the third last game in the division. That could maybe be decisive in terms of maybe Tipperary going down. I think it's going to be very, very close. Like, both are similar in the sense that they're very reliant on one top-class forward. Fermanagh with Sean Quigley, Tipperary with Conor Sweeney. That changed big time. This year. Fermanagh, I think, proved this year that they're not as reliant on Sean Quigley anymore. I know he scored some late winning goals and everything else, but with the likes of Ulton Kelm, Ryan Lyons, Darragh McGurn, I think Fermanagh proved this year that they are more than just a one-man team. And actually with Tipperary, let's not forget that Conor Sweeney got injured as well, which was absolutely huge for them. So yeah, like, Fermanagh definitely proved a lot of people wrong. And I think of all my predictions, I think predicting Fermanagh, you know, we'll see what I said. I'm fairly confident I went with Tipperary in the end. But the fact that I had Fermanagh so close to relegation and they went on to get promoted, yeah, that's a big L there for me. And for any Fermanagh fans watching, I sincerely apologise. I like Sean O'Connor as well. Like, I think he's been a good player since he's come into the side from the under-20s. And Fermanagh have a few young lads coming in, like Conor Love, who's looked impressive at club level. So it's so tough. I mean, Fermanagh have a knack of staying in this division. They have consistency, whereas Tipperary haven't really been consistent in this division. Like, you know, there's always a lot of inconsistency with Tip, even losing to Carlow in the Tailteann Cup last year. So, do you know what? I'm going to give Fermanagh the edge. I think Tipperary will finish in 7th, and I think Fermanagh have proven to me down the years that they have enough to stay in this division, and I think they will again. And let's talk. So there we go. I predicted Fermanagh to stay up. So that means out of the 2 predictions there, I got 1 correct, 1 wrong. So 3 out of 5. Definitely the fact that I feel like the fact that I predicted Fermanagh to finish 6th, that's nearly, I should nearly get a deduction because of that or something. But I think at the same time, we're not predicting every single place, because otherwise we be here forever. But in terms of promotion, obviously we know that it was Cavan and Fermanagh who got promoted. We know now, obviously, I did not predict Fermanagh to get promoted. So what did I predict? Who did I predict to get relegated? Let's have a look. I suppose quickly on down, we'll speed this up a bit quicker after this, but I suppose quickly on down, yeah, I probably, they finished third in the end, and then they were quite close in the end to promotion. It went down to the head-to-head game between them and Cavan. Yeah, like down did quite well, but they probably did as I expected. With Conor Laverty going in there was going to be a bounce. There was going to be an impact, but it was going to not happen this year. But next year in Division 3, like Down, I think are probably one of the front runners, alongside Clare, you'd imagine. So Down are looking very good, and they're definitely on the up. Pardon the pun there. Down on the up, but yeah. Anyway, let's see who I did predict to get promoted. We then move into the promotion battle, and there's 3 teams which I haven't mentioned yet, and that is Offaly, Westmeath, and Cavan. Westmeath will be the favourites to get out of Division 3. Make no mistake about that. Following their Tailteann Cup success. Desi Dolan coming in as manager after Jack Cooney steps down, he took a role obviously within the GEA. Interesting times for Westmeath, make no mistake about that. But I think, as I said in my GEA predictions video a couple of weeks ago, it should be a big year for Westmeath. I think I haven't seen enough of Westmeath this year. Obviously, we haven't seen highlights on the Sunday game. So it's been hard to know. But for any Westmeath fans watching this, like, where has it gone wrong? Because in the end, Westmeath finished 4th with 8 points, and they only finished above Offaly on the head-to-head. But it's been such a bizarre season for Westmeath. They finished with the best attack in Division 3. They also had the best defence in Division 3. They had a plus 56 score difference, which was 36 more than Fermanagh, who ended up finishing in first. So quite a bizarre season for Westmeath. Like, I think they have so much talent, and they certainly have the ability to get out of this division. And was it the fact that they had a Sam Maguire place already wrapped up? Maybe, but it's not confirmed for next year. So you look at them and think, next season in Division 3 is going to be difficult, and there's going to be pressure on them to get out of there. So yeah, like, following on from Westmeath's Tailteann Cup success, I've been very disappointed with them, and I'm fairly confident I did predict them to get promoted, and as we know, that didn't happen. And yeah, like, there's just I don't know what it is. Is it like, has Desi Dolan not really got the best out of these lads? Still a lot of potential to get to a Leinster final, and we'll see what they do in the All-Ireland series. But in Division 3, I will be honest, very disappointed looking at Westmeath this year. Results together. I think for Desi Dolan, there will be bumps in the road, I think it won't be smooth sailing in Division 3, but I am going to go with them to get promoted. I think they will have enough. And between Cavan, well, there we go. We know I got that one wrong anyway. Westmeath in the end finished in 4th position in Division 3. And even saying there that if they were in Division 2, I think they would have stayed up. I'm not too sure they would have, on the basis of how they performed in Division 3. But again, I'd be curious to know what Westmeath fans, did they overachieve last year? Maybe their players aren't as good as what we thought. But I just look at them like Ronan O'Toole, John Heslin, Sam McCartan, Ray Kennellan. I don't know. Did they have injuries? I'm not entirely sure, but maybe Westmeath fans can let me know in the comments below for anyone who's watching. And Offaly, it is a tough one, because Offaly, under Liam Kearns, who's coming in as manager, a man who's done very well with Tipperary, sort of a similar role in some ways. Like, Tipperary had a lot of young players coming into the team, from underage success, and Liam Kearns was the man to really sort of bring those players into the county, embed them into the first team, and really sort of build Tipperary football up. It's similar with Offaly. Offaly under 20 All-Ireland champions a couple of years ago. A lot of very good young players in the likes of Keith O'Neill, Cormac Egan, a few good lads sort of in and around the fringes of the senior team, whilst also having more experienced players like the McNamees, for example. They have the... And I suppose hindsight is a wonderful thing, as they say. And as we very well know, Liam Kearns passed away, not so long ago. And yeah, that was something that really shook the nation, or shook the GA community in more ways than one. And even, hearing me talk about the potential that Offaly had under this man. And look, I still think, with the players and everything else, there still is a lot of potential there, but it's just, yeah, heartbreaking in regards to what happened there. And yeah, it's just a reminder of what a difficult season it was for Offaly. this awful habit in the league of just completely messing it up. And even in Division 4 last year, like they were never really convincing in any of their wins. It can be a little bit confusing watching Cavan sometimes because they seem, when the championship comes around, they look very, very good. But in the league, sometimes they can look sluggish and sort of sleepwalk their way through games. But Paddy Lynch looked very good last season. So I think Cavan, for me, will just about pip Offaly. So I'm going to go with Cavan and Westmeath to get promoted. And in terms, well, just as well, I got that one right in the end. So I definitely got one prediction right here at least, anyways. But yeah, I think Cavan were probably better than we expected in Division 3, like winning the opening 5 games. I think they actually looked a lot better in the league this year than last season's. I know they lost the last 2 league games, but I think Antrim and Fermanagh had something big to play for, whereas Cavan, had nothing to play for in those final 2 games. Promotion was already wrapped up pretty much. So yeah, and I think even just looking at what I said there, like I almost forgot that Thomas Galligan, made himself not available this year, and they haven't looked like they've missed him so far. Anyways, Darragh McVeety is slotted in brilliantly, and yeah, fair play to Cavan. I wonder, did I predict them to get the better of Westmeath? I'm not sure I did, but let's see. In terms of the league final between Cavan and Westmeath, do you know what? I'm gonna go with Cavan to win this one. I just think Cavan will get revenge on Westmeath because obviously that Tailteann Cup final last year would be a repeat of it. And I just have a funny feeling Cavan might just turn them over in Croke Park. I've just got a funny feeling that they'll be out for revenge after what happened in that Tailteann Cup final last year. And there we go. I got that one right. So out of the 3 predictions there, 2 correct. 1 wrong, so that puts me on 5 out of 8 so far. It's actually, it's not the best, not the worst. We'll see what I predicted in Division 2 though. Let's see what we had here. But yeah, predicting Cavan to go up as champions in the end, I got that right. So far I've got both champions correct. Not bad. And sometimes you get people commenting, go mad at me saying I know nothing. Well, doubt me now. I got Sligo correct. I got Cavan correct. All right, I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself now because I know once we get to Division 1, that's where this video will go really, really downhill quite quickly. But we might as well enjoy the wins while we have them. So let's have a look at what I said about Division 2. Relegation battle, and I think, to be honest, this relegation is a little bit more straightforward in my opinion. I think it will be Louth and Limerick, who of course both got promoted from Division 3 last year. I think both of them will go back down. I know that's sort of an easy answer. Maybe it's not that exciting. Maybe people would like me to predict them. Yeah, well, I was definitely right about Limerick, but I suppose the Louth one, yeah, like I remember last year I was one of the few people who predicted Louth to get promoted out of all the sort of GA content creators or whatever, or anyone who did, predictions videos. I think it was one of the very few who backed Louth to get promoted. And this year, I always felt like they'd be competitive and they'd be tough to beat. But I just looked at it and thought, like, if they don't go down, who does go down? Do you know what I mean? But fair play. Like, Louth definitely exceeded all expectations. And I think Limerick, I don't know, they were probably at the level I expected, really, with some of the players that were missing through injury, new manager coming in that didn't know the county. Yeah, Limerick were probably what I expected. Didn't expect them to get battered as much as they did. They were beaten quite comprehensively on more than one occasion. But yeah, predicting Louth to go down was definitely a massive L for me. If there was a team to potentially get dragged into a relegation battle, or a team who maybe could go down, it could be Meath. It could be them. They've sort of been flirting with relegation in the last couple of seasons. And you know what? Like, when you actually look at the league table, I'm going to look at the Division 2 league table again here. Meath in the end actually finished, I think they did finish 6th. So, do you know what? Like, they were 1 point off being relegated. In fact, it actually went down to their win over Clare on the second day of the league season. And the funny thing is with Meath is that, like, if someone had to watch my video maybe after they beat Clare and they were, sitting with 2 wins from 2 up near the top of the league in a promotion race, or what they felt was in a promotion race, I think people would have been very quick maybe to give me abuse in the comments. But yeah, I always felt like Meath, like the Colm O'Rourke appointment is still something I'm not convinced by. And I think I even went on to say it in this video. Like, I'm not sure. Meath went 5 games without a win. Their last 5 games of the league, they all went without a win. And they were beaten badly in some of those games as well. So Meath were very close to relegation in the end. It never really felt that way. But actually, when you look at the league table, they were a lot closer to going down to Division 3 than people thought. retired the top scorer in the history of the National Football League. Look, it's been interesting with Clare and Colm Collins, because when you watch them in the last couple of seasons, you're often thinking maybe there's going to be a drop in the next couple of seasons. And because a county like Clare have done so well for so long, and they're not a traditional footballing county, you automatically assume that at some point those levels are going to drop off and they're going to find themselves back in Division 3. And as we very well know, that's exactly what happened. But the funny thing is with Clare is that I don't even know if their levels did drop that much. I think they were just unlucky in a lot of close games. Like even when you look at it, they finished with 4 points, 2 wins from 7 games, which is enough, to be fair, to relegate any side, in the National Football League across the top 3 divisions. But like they were so close to beating Dublin. They were so close to beating Kildare, I think, as well. They were very unlucky. Like Clare could have been sitting there with 8 points. They could have finished in third. They were very unlucky. And I don't think it was a case that the standards massively dropped. I think they were just a little bit unlucky in some of the close games. But in fairness to Clare, going into the Tailteann Cup, a competition I think they'll be favourites in, and next season as well, like I'm fairly confident they'll get out of Division 3. And they actually do have a good couple of young players coming through. So although I did get this prediction wrong, I still think Clare are in good steads. But yeah, we got this one wrong, obviously, because as we know, Clare did get relegated. I predicted Louth to get relegated instead. So yeah, we got this one wrong. It's sort of a weird one with Cork, because I could see them maybe beating Kildare but possibly losing to Limerick. Like they're that type of side, and I think they will struggle to find the consistent. Oh, I was nearly spot on there. It was nearly spot on about Cork. Not that it's relevant, but they did beat Kildare. They actually hammered Limerick in the end, to be fair, but they lost to Meath, who ended up finishing 6th. So yeah, a strange one with Cork at the best of times. One last year, I thought they played very, very well. They played better than Dublin in Division 1, and got some big results. And I definitely didn't predict Kildare to get promoted. Surely not. I'll tell you what, if I predicted them to get promoted, I might just end the video, because surely not. No, I definitely went with Dublin and Derry, surely. You think of that defeat to Tyrone in the league. If they had won that, which I think they should have, they would have stayed up. So they're not a million miles off competing with the top sides. In that full forward line of Jimmy Hylands, Daniel Flynn, Dara Kirwan, like that is a very, very good full forward line. Kevin Feely in midfield as well. But again, I think Dublin and Derry are just a level above the other sides in this division and should have enough to get promoted. And as I was saying, and as we know there, thankfully enough, I did not predict Kildare to get promoted. But I would be curious to know for Kildare fans, where did it go wrong? Because I obviously had them close to promotion. A lot of other people did as well. I think they finished 5th in the end. So probably actually better than what it was looking like at a certain moment in time, where they looked nailed on to be relegated. But let me know, Kildare fans watching, where did it go wrong this year? And are you still hopeful under this management? To be fair, they did actually end the season on 2 wins, and they did beat Meath as well. So maybe Kildare have got that sort of early season syndrome, shall we say, out of their form. But do let me know in the comments down below. So I went with Dublin and Derry to get promoted, and I think in fairness, that was a fairly obvious prediction. But who did I predict to go up as champions? Because we know I've got 2 predictions correct here in predicting Dublin and Derry to get promoted. But who of the 2 did I predict to go up as champions? I think all in all, Dublin need consistent games against top quality teams to improve, and that's why they need to get back to Division 1. And to be fair, I think they will. So I've got Dublin in first and Derry in second. I do think Dublin will go up as champions. I do actually have a funny feeling that Dublin will slip up at times in the league this year. I think that game in Owenbeg and Derry, I could see Derry turning us over there. But I do think we'll come back strong enough to win the division in the end and go up as champions. So yeah, I think I was pretty much spot on there. I think the only thing I said wrong was that the game was actually in Celtic Park and not in Owenbeg. So yeah, I think that was the only thing I got wrong. But I did say Dublin would lose to Derry and actually beat them in Croke Park, which they did, albeit it was a strange performance by Dublin in fairness. And actually, I predicted Dublin to be a lot better than what they were. I said they'd finish first when they actually finished second. But I did predict both Dublin and Derry to get promoted. And I did predict Dublin to go up as champions. So that means out of the 3 predictions there, I got all 3 correct. Clean sweep right there for me. So out of 13 predictions, I got 9 correct. But now we go on to Division 1, and I know for a fact I got so much wrong here. So, yeah, let's do this. Then we move on to Division 1, and I'm going to be honest, straight from the get-go, Division 1 is very, very hard to call. I honestly think that this division might be a bit mental, a bit like last year where everyone sort of beats everyone, because Kerry should win the league, and I think they will. I think I said that in my GA predictions video a week or so ago. I think they still, even despite that defeat to Cork in pre-season, I still think they'll have enough to bounce back and go on a good enough run to get to a league final and then win it. Yeah, so we got that one wrong. We definitely over-egged Kerry a little bit, and I think I should have been thinking logically there. I should have looked at it and said, you know what, Kerry will be missing a lot of players at the start of the league. They're probably going to slip up. So yeah, I definitely miscalculated that one. So already we know, I've got a few predictions wrong in Division 1. But in terms of relegation, I mean, I think we all know I got the Monaghan one wrong, but let's see what I said about them anyway. But aside from Kerry, I think anyone can kind of beat anyone. I mean, Monaghan should be the team that finishes bottom and gets relegated, given the fact that they don't have the same level of quality of players that they have compared to some of the other teams in here. And obviously, Conor McManus is slowing down. I don't think last year was his best year. They obviously have Drew Wiley and Colin Walsh who've retired. Few other lads making themselves unavailable. First year for Vinnie Corey. I do have Monaghan in 8th, but every time I predict Monaghan to go down, they find a way to stay up, and you have to commend them for consistently finding ways to stay up. And yeah, they completely proved me wrong. I think they proved a lot of regular GA pundits or fans or whatever wrong. Fair play to Monaghan. Fair play, and I'm not. I think that when next year's video comes around, I'll be. I don't know if I'll predict them to get relegated just off the fact that they just keep finding ways to survive. And in fairness to them, I said there that the level of quality in their players is not the same as the rest. And yeah, I was completely wrong. I was probably looking at that too one-sided, looking at Conor McManus, Jack McCarron, not looking at the likes of Micheál Bannigan, who's been very good, defensively quite strong. And the fact that in Clonus as well, it's always a tough place to go. It really, really is. And in fairness to Monaghan, I think they've got a good younger players coming through as well, good few players making the breakthrough. And the thing is, I predicted them to finish 8th below Donegal. So yeah, I probably nearly deserve a points deduction for that as well. But yeah, fair play to Monaghan. And I think next year, I mean, you look at Division 1 next year, though, and you look at it and think, it's going to be very, very tough for them to survive. And maybe they will go down next year, but I don't know. They find a way to survive. Jack McCarron, Micheál Bannigan. And in fairness, the Vinnie Corey appointment was actually a brilliant appointment because he knows the players. He knows them inside and out. He knows the club players. Whereas I was looking at it more so as they needed an outside man. And yeah, just as well, they don't listen to my advice. Otherwise, Monaghan would probably be in Division 3 at this stage, let's be honest. I think Roscommon, Mayo, Donegal and Tyrone could all very well potentially get relegated. I think there's a likelihood for any one of them 4 to potentially go down. I mean, Donegal, you obviously have no Michael Murphy. He's retired. Pater Mogan has opted out as well because he's going travelling. So with Donegal, there's a bit of change there. Obviously, Paddy Carr coming in as manager. There's bound to be a couple of changes in the Donegal ranks, and maybe that might cause a problem or two, and maybe it might take a bit of time before they get going. Roscommon have consistently found it tough to stay up in Division 1. Davy Burke's come in as manager, and I think, Davy Burke's talked a lot about consistency and the importance of Division 1. And there definitely is, and we've seen Roscommon have a brilliant season, and I don't think I did predict them to get relegated. I mean, surely I didn't predict them ahead of Donegal to get relegated. That'd be a very bad prediction by me. But in fairness to Roscommon, I mean, yeah, the fact they finished 3rd in the end in the league, they had a much better season than what people expected. Winning 4 games out of 7, and we're probably a little bit unlucky in the end not to get in a league final. But an extraordinary season for Roscommon, and Davy Burke definitely did get a tune out of those lads, and Roscommon look like a really organised team at the minute. About Mayo is there has been retirements, most notably Lee Keegan, who's recently announced his inter-county retirement, and you also have Oisin Mullen, who of course has now gone to the AFL. So there's going to be a lot of holes to plug within that Mayo back line, and that's certainly a bit of a headache for Kevin McStay. I think for Kevin McStay, there is going to be a transition of phasing out the likes of Aidan O'Shea, Kevin McLaughlin, Killian O'Connor, and bringing through younger lads. I think Killian O'Connor, Kevin McLaughlin, Well, yeah, this was a massive L. To be fair, when we look at the comments on this video, there were some people who predicted Mayo to get relegated. Mayo fans were even quite negative coming into the season about their own county. And yeah, it was a big surprise to see. Maybe not a big surprise because the talent levels and the players we knew were there. It was just more so, could McStay get a tune out of the lads so quick, and would they have enough to go all the way and win the league, which I didn't expect. I think I predicted them to finish fourth in the end. Um, but yeah, what a season in the end for Mayo, winning the league. So straight away we know that I got two predictions wrong there, and I don't even know who I predicted to go into the league final as well. But very, very, very disappointing prediction by me there. But for Mayo, what a brilliant, brilliant year. And I suppose when it comes to the All Ireland predictions, what are people going to predict for Mayo in the All Ireland? Are they going to go and do it? Oh, I don't know. Who am I picking to go down then? I just think Donegal, to be honest. I think Roscommon with Davy Burke, there'll be a new bounce. I think Tyrone have a habit of pulling out of the bag in the last couple of seasons, and I think they do have good enough players to stay up. I do think Donegal do have good players, and they're better than what some people are saying, like Paddy. And to be fair, I think they do have good players. I think that's something that probably does get lost in translation. But yeah, in the end, I did get it right saying Donegal would go down. They didn't finish bottom, or they did finish bottom, and I predicted them to finish seventh. But out of the two predictions there, I got one correct. So that puts me on 10 out of 15. So not so good there. We now go on to the league final, and let's see what I got right here. To be honest, we know already that I had Mayo in fourth. So Mayo won the league, so that's two predictions wrong. I guess the question is, did I predict Galway to get into the league final? And there's another county who did get relegated that I haven't even mentioned yet. There isn't much between these. I don't think there's much between a lot of teams in Division 1, to be honest. The reason why I've got these two in here, though, is because I think following on from last year, and when you look at Armagh down the years, they tend to start the year quite fast. They take the league very seriously. Kieran McGeeney's always done that. You look at how they started the league last year. And yeah, that did not happen at all this year for Armagh. Armagh had a very, very disappointing season. And usually they do start the league fast. And even on that opening weekend when they beat Monaghan, there was cracks there, and you started to think and you started to worry about Armagh. I don't know what it is. This whole, nature of, completely switching their play to way more defensive, I think doesn't suit them. Is there issues going on behind the scenes with Rian O'Neill and all the rumors there? You just don't really know what's going on with Armagh, to be honest with you. I think talent levels, player ability, and if they get players back from injury, still the potential to have a great season. And I still have high hopes for Armagh, but the league was very disappointing. And the fact they're not scoring that much is a little bit worrying as well, because, aside from Rian O'Neill, you look at the likes of Rory Grugan, Stephen Campbell, Connor Turbett, Ross McQuillan, these lads, a lot of them not really producing their best performances this year. And I think it's more so got to do with the structure of how they're playing. So very, very disappointing season for Armagh. Did I predict them to get a league final, though? Hopefully I didn't. They weren't at their best at times in the league last year, but they were very close to actually getting to a league final. Galway at the same time have a very, very good squad depth. I mean, Shane Walsh is likely to be missing for the opening couple of league games with Kilmacud Crokes club commitments. But I think all in all, they still have a very, very solid side. And some of the under 20 players that have come into the side in the last couple of seasons, the likes of Jack Glynn, Sean and Paul Kelly, you've got Killy McDade, who's looked very solid. Damien Comer has been in excellent form. So I think Galway, for me, I think are building consistency, and they might have a bit of a year like what they had before the lockdown, where they looked very, very good in the league and they were blowing teams away. I think we could see Galway start the league very, very strong. So I think the team I'm going to pick to join Kerry in the final, I feel like Galway are the better side right now, but I've just got a feeling that Armagh might be a little bit more consistent in the league. They start a bit faster, and I'm expecting a big year for Armagh. So yeah, I'm going to go with Armagh and Kerry to be... Terrible. So out of those three predictions, we got zero correct. Absolutely zero. So yeah, I should have stuck to I feel like my gut was telling me Galway would do it, but I got too carried away. I jumped on the Armagh hype, and it definitely let me down. The fact they got relegated in the end, absolutely dreadful stuff there from myself. Very, very poor prediction. It doesn't matter, who I predicted to win the league final because we got it wrong anyway. But I think I went with Kerry. I'm pretty sure in the league final. But as I was saying, I think Kerry will win the league final. I think they will come through either Armagh or Galway. I mean, it would be interesting to see them play Galway in the league final and have a repeat of that All Ireland final from last year. But I'm gonna go with the Kingdom to win the National Football League. So there we go. Out of Division 1 was definitely dreadful, wasn't it? I mean, I think I got one prediction correct here in Donegal getting relegated. And to be fair, I think I think anyone probably could have predicted that. So yeah, there we go. They were my predictions. So out of 18 predictions, I got 10 correct. I'm not too sure what that is as a percentage. Let's see. 55%. So I suppose if this was an exam, I would have got a C, which, is not the worst, to be fair, especially when you look at how my grades were back in the college and school days. But yeah, I think not so good predictions there. Maybe of interest. Let's see what some people said in the comments. Skyglass actually had a very good comment, to be fair. You have to give it to Aaron. He takes up this time just to make one video. He's so good for what he does. I do really appreciate the good comments. 14 people like that as well. So you are absolute legends. Really, really appreciate that. Sosta says, good vid, waiting to see natural upsets, disappointed expectations of some teams that always pop up. Hard to see anything beyond another year of Kerry dominating. Enda said you were right about Meath, bringing a very young team to Cork tomorrow. Full back line midfield, they're not very experienced. Menton has retired. So yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is Meath actually beat Cork. SR19 says London have got Enda Lynn, Kevin McCarthy added to the panel along with 3 or 4 ex-Donegal players for 2023. Isn't going to be such a shock when they win more games this year. Yeah, to be fair, in fairness, to give you some credit, a lot of those players did get injured from what I heard. But things did not go to plan for London, maybe. But, I don't know. I'll be curious. If you're watching this video now, let me know. Where do you think it went wrong for London? David also said, absolutely love your videos. That's very, very much appreciated. As did James. A lot of actually very nice comments here, in fairness. Tesca says, I think the teams that will stay up: 1, Donegal, Monaghan; 2, Cork, Meath; 3 from Antip. Division 1 final, Kerry versus Galway. Division 2, Dublin v Derry. Division 3, Cavan v Westmeath. Division 4, Sligo v Leitrim. So you got a few right there, I suppose, but definitely a few wrong, in fairness. Sky Glass said, I'm hoping Kerry will get revenge against Tyrone because we lost to them twice in a row. And that didn't happen. Tyrone beat Kerry. Barry says, we'll be happy to stay up in Armagh. Yeah, you would have been happy. You would have been happy. And maybe Armagh should have tempered their expectations a little bit more so. Well, I can't speak for Armagh fans, but maybe us general GA fans, should have tempered our expectations ever so slightly. That Derry Dublin game scheduled for Celtic Park, fair enough. Gavin, good old Gavin. Let's see what his predictions were. Division 1, David Clifford and friends. 2, Galway. You were right about Galway. You predicted Roscommon to stay up. I know you're a Roscommon fan, so fair play. Donegal, Monaghan. We all got the Monaghan one wrong, didn't we? Division 2, Dublin, Derry. Correct there. Limerick. Your prediction is actually very similar to mine, in fairness. Loud. Yeah, Loud was the big one, wasn't it? Division 3, Westmeath, Cavan, Tipperary, Antrim. Yeah, Wicklow, Sligo. I suppose you were right there. You were right with Wicklow, Sligo. You were correct there. You definitely had London a lot higher than expected, but Leitrim 5th. But you were correct with Wicklow, Sligo, so fair play. Jack said Longford have all the players back. They could shock a few different than last year. We should stay. Hope so. We could push anyone in going for promotion, I think is what he's trying to say there. Yeah, good old Jack. I think things did not go according to plan for Longford. And even, if maybe that prediction at the time, me predicting them to finish 5th, I think some people probably thought they'd be closer to promotion, but there you have it. My predictions for Division 2, Dublin, Kildare, Derry, Cork, Louth, Meath, relegate Clare, Limerick. Says Johnny, you were right with Clare, Limerick. Dublin, Kildare, maybe not so much so. The All-Ireland competitor, says Sky Glass there. Richard said your Christmas tree still up. Yeah, it was still up. Longford are going to win Division 3. Joe Blogs. I seen this comment actually a few weeks ago. I think someone replied to it. But he says, predicting Monaghan's demise is a waste of your time. It's too easy just to go with traditional big countries. It is counties, not countries. Just to point that out there. But you underestimate Monaghan every year. Monaghan have not survived due to luck. That is a false narrative. Over the last 9 years, Monaghan are third most successful team in terms of Division 1 average placing, only behind Kerry and Dublin. Do your research. You, along with pundits, massively overestimate Armagh, and guess what? They got relegated. And you know what? Yeah, I was 110% wrong there. 110% wrong with that prediction. What I would say though is I do think in previous seasons there has been a bit of luck, against. I mean, there were deserved victory against Dublin, but I just mean like luck is not a bad thing. Sometimes every team needs luck. Every team needs a bit of luck every now and again. You don't win anything with luck. Now you make your own luck, and to be fair to Monaghan, they have made their own luck. But you look at Dublin through the 6 in a row spell, the 2 own goals that Mayo scored in 2016. You look at last year, even at times when Kerry, against Dublin, although they were deserved victors, you get luck, you get decisions, certain moments go your way in certain games. A lot of the time they balance themselves out. And I think, to be fair to Monaghan, they were more than deserved of staying up in the end. But I think there was maybe just an element of luck. And even this season, but to be fair, they made their own luck. And actually this season, they stayed up a lot more convincingly than other seasons. And even halfway through the season, I remember I said Monaghan are staying up. When they beat, can't remember who it was they beat Roscommon at home. And I thought, yeah, Monaghan are staying up here. But there you go. I'm sure when the league comes around next year, I'll probably predict them to get relegated again. And I'm sure a lot of Monaghan fans will not be too happy about that. But sure, look, that's the fun of it. You're going to get predictions wrong. You're going to get things wrong. And I'm sure when I record my All-Ireland predictions video tomorrow, there's going to be even more. People are not going to be happy with that as well, probably. Although, to be fair, I would say 99% of the comments here have been positive, but there you go. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions on some of my predictions, even some of your comments here as well, some of your predictions. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the content around here. And leave a like, subscribe. See you all there.